Yes, we're actually live
You're
on YouTube.
live. You're live. And we got 1 minute. You're good,
Wow,
Jeff.
so we're live and we're early. This is amazing.
Early.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Harry, if you could, I guess I put a spotlight on me. And we will be, hi, it's Jeff Pulver, and the show is about to begin. If you're watching live and you're not inside of our Zoom, you can join us by going to pulver.com and clicking through to the creator economy. Today we have an absolutely fun show. We're going to be talking about Discord, NFTs, and animation. Maybe in that order this time. And it's just wonderful. All right, so we're going to kick off the show now. Thank you for tuning in. It's Jeff Pulver, and if you're watching us live or on the replay, it's wonderful to have you here in the audience. And today we're going to cover a couple of topics which are near and dear to my heart. I love animation, and I'm really grateful to have Nicholas back this time with Andrew, and they're going to be talking about a very special project they're working on called The Flower. And our very first guest is going to help all of us better understand ways that we can use NFTs. And he speaks a very special language called Discord. And so after the Von 3 Summit, I've promised actually those of you who've come to actually have a Von 3 Discord. And then I realized, okay, but how do we set it up right? And how do we use NFTs in a way that's actually provides access? So I am quite curious about that mystery. So we're going to be talking about that. First up, I just want to give acknowledgement and shout outs to all of you who supported the Von 3 Summit that took place at the end of January. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Keith. And thank you, Alec, and others that spoke and that came to the event. It was eye-opening for me, and something which I'm really excited about going forward. It's a future which is, I won't say inevitable, but it's very interesting to me, the way that the internet's evolving, the way communications is evolving, and the way that we have this new intersection between what's happening in the future of the internet and what's happening in the future of communications. And over the last 25 years, if we haven't learned anything, is that communications is core to commerce. And our ability to communicate is being driven effectively through our abilities to understand these entanglements. And so it's really fascinating. So spring 2022 Von will be a Von 3, spring Von 3 2022 is April 25th to the 27th. If you're interested in speaking, please let me know. I expect about 50 or so speakers this time around. Probably will follow a very similar format of we'll call them virtual fireside chats, and conversations and roundtables. And if there's things of meaning that are meaningful to you that you would like to share, you have a platform for it. It's a really interesting format that's been evolving, and I'm really appreciative of the fact that my friends in Sri Lanka complained that they lost sleep each night of the conference because, yes, I catered the event to start at 11 a.m. Eastern, a little bit earlier on the West Coast. That would be like, I guess, 8 in the morning on the East Coast. And it was meant to go from like 11 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m., which I understand ran a little late. But our friends started watching it at 9:30 at night local time. And on the second day, yes, it went till I think 4 a.m. So there was a lot of lost sleep over in Colombo. Outside of that, it was a very good sign because there was lots of engagement. And so I'm super excited about that. And those of you who've been part of the 140 community over the years, I have an exciting announcement, which I'll wait till next week to formally announce because I'm still working on the what it really will mean. But it's going to be a very, very special event I'm planning in May. And I'll just tell you right now, those of you that have the Pulveria NFT, who are holding on to that, you now have a special extra perk. Everyone who has a Pulveria NFT will have already has a pass to attend 140 Conf when it returns in May. I haven't announced what it's returning as or when or everything else, but those of you who have one of those NFTs already invited to attend. And if you have two, actually, if you have 5 Pulveria NFTs, you actually have VIP and all sorts of other perks associated with that. But that's just laying the groundwork for that in the future. But Thank you for participating, really, all of you. And I want to bring forward Alec. So, Alec, thank you for joining the Creator Economy. Thanks for your participation in the Von 3 Summit. And I know you have upcoming surgery, so I wish you a very easy surgery and a very easy recovery.
Thank you.
My own advice is when they tell you about getting the ice pack, say yes, you want the ice machine.
I got the ice machine. Yep.
Good idea. So for those of you who don't know you like I do, could you share a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I've always been interested in community and programming and the intersection of that. So I was a kid in the 90s. I ran a BBS. I made little code extensions for it. I had games on it. Ended up doing programming. Circled back to chatbots in 2016, where I found it interesting that people could make something small on their own and get written up in like VentureBeat and TechCrunch. Kind of felt like the early days of the internet again. So I helped Jeff with some successful conferences in Montage and finding speakers for that, and started my own chatbot event group, and then ended up in the metaverse space last year, where it started becoming interesting, where everything's coming together, the chatbot space, AI, XR, the whole blockchain Web3. And I found my way to Discord. Before, I hadn't used Discord much before last year, and then got interested in it and seeing what people are doing there. And I thought I'd share a little bit about how it works, why people use it, and how you can use NFTs or tokens to set up gated channels for people.
So for people not familiar with Discord, Discord, from my perspective, is yet another instant messaging platform that can be highly distractive. And if you have lots of other places where people will distract you, yes, it is another. And the thing is, if you're in this Web3 world, I will not say that Discord is a Web3 application, but it's a communication channel that the Web3 community collectively is using. And frankly, we've stolen it from the gamers. People who've been playing games all this time, they've been using Discord without any of us, and they're having a grand old time. And here we are, someone decides, okay, let's use this as a communication channel, and boom, it happens. So Discord. So what is Discord to you? Do you have like a ritual with your Discord? Do you keep Discord open all the time with notifications?
I keep it open, though I have muted almost every channel because otherwise, you're right, it is too distracting. You made a really great point about kind of the genesis of Discord being with gaming, as opposed to like Slack being more business. So there's a lot of mechanisms in Discord that are gamified to try to kind of catch your attention, get you to click on things, check out leaderboards. So I was actually going to just quickly share my screen and show a couple of those in person and talk about why those are actually useful in some way, even though at first glance they may seem just like another thing to distract you from your day.
Please go ahead. Let's see.
All right, so here's my screen, and I've got a lot of channels here. And I'm going to go to this channel that's based on an NFT project. So no reason to think this is an endorsement or anything of the project, just something I thought was kind of fun to explore. And the first thing you see is that people set up rules for the community, because there's a lot of people in Discord that want to get your attention they call it shilling, to tell you about the latest like coin to buy or this and that. A lot of people just turn off your direct messages because it can be kind of dangerous or annoying. So most communities have some sort of rules that you have to agree to when you first sign on. The other thing that people like to do is giveaways.
Giveaway.
Yeah.
What are they giving away?
So they have a lot of Discord works through bots, where you add in these little functionality pieces, and they post messages periodically, either in their own channel, or they can message people directly.
Now,
and,
for people who don't know what a bot is, could you just explain in English what a bot is?
Yeah, it's just like an automated agent. Like sometimes it could be fancy and have a conversation with you. Otherwise, it literally just like posts a message periodically and waits for you to click a button. So there's like a huge spectrum of like what it could be.
So I would so it's like lines of code with that's supposed to represent some intelligence, artificial or otherwise, to be helpful for you.
Right, right. And it could be all the way from a simple utility to something fancier.
Okay.
And what this giveaway is, for example, is they just run these periodically and you just click this emoji to be entered in the giveaway, which in some ways seems kind of silly. Like what's the point? Like I'm winning just because I'm here. But that's actually is the point to be there. If you think about kind of the, I guess, pre-pandemic times, there used to be like lines outside of going to a nightclub or something. And what was the point of that? Well, the point is to make it seem like it's going to be busy, to build a group of people before you let them in. Because if each person walks in one at a time, sees no one there and walks out, you don't have a party. So there's a lot that's done in Discord to make sure that people show up periodically and start engaging. And then they could hopefully run into other people and start conversations or do other things. So the giveaways are a big part of that. Get people in the habit, build those micro habits to come back to the channel. And maybe after they enter the giveaway, they see there's an interesting conversation happening and they can start partaking in that.
Where would the conversation be happening here?
So there's all sorts of groups. So these little double lines here are groups of channels, and there's channels within it. So in this case, there's like a main chat here where people are talking about, this is like a little game that's built, and they ask for feedback. They talk about kind of what heroes they run in this game. It really depends what it is. People post polls. Memes are pretty popular. People just post little pictures just for fun and amusement. It really is a whole different world. If you haven't been in like Discord or kind of online chat, it's strange, but it has its endearing parts. Like there's just cat with water running off its head randomly. Like that's kind of funny. Kind of brightens up your day a little bit.
I like the yo-yo puppy.
Yeah. And the other thing, again, from gaming is that a lot of these channels have other things that reward you for certain behaviors. So you get,
what does the leaderboard do in Discord in this regard? Like,
yeah. So in this case, this is people who have won this game, but it could be anything from like top login streak to top engagement. So a person who comes in, chats every day, could be on a leaderboard. There's people that have invite systems where in order to get more people into Discord, they have a contest and you get a special link. And how Discord's invite only, by the way. Actually, that's a big difference from like other chat systems. So to get into the Discord, you have to follow a link, whether it's a web link or someone sends you a link. And people have contests to see how many people can be invited at once by individuals, and they can give things away, whether it's an NFT or just bragging rights. So the leaderboard is kind of another gamified way to get people interested in engaging and growing this community.
Now, speaking of NFTs, what's the, like, how, if I have NFTs and some people have Pulveri NFTs, as me as a community host, how could I use an NFT as a gating way to say, hey, come into my room, but only to this channel or only this Discord? How does that stuff work?
Yep. So I'll switch over. This is kind of my test channel here. And the most popular one is Collabland. So it is free. I will caution it's a little bit slow and quirky at times.
This is a bot. So
this is a bot. Yeah. So what you do is you go to their support site in this case, and you can follow the link, and it's asking for permission to authorize this Collabland bot to your Discord. So in this case, this is my Discord.
Oh, that's right. So it's your metaverse. It's the
Verse Tech metaverse. Yeah. It's a metaverse of one right now. I haven't had a chance to do anything with it.
Okay.
But so I've already added this Discord here. So you'll see that now when it's online, it's me. And then it's this bot as well. It has this little checkbox, like part of like kind of good bot behavior. So identify that it's a bot and it's verified versus pretending to be a human.
And now this is looking for, so an ERC 721, that's the type of token that represents an NFT?
Yes. So the way you configure this bot, you don't go to a website, you literally chat in Discord to it.
Oh, wow.
So if I type bang help, it gives me a list of different commands it can do. So if I want to do NFT gating, That's the setup role. So let's talk about roles a little bit. The way Discord works is that permissions are based on roles. So if you want to make a channel that only certain people can come in, you need to make it a channel blocked by roles.
So, for example, for the recent Von 3 Summit, we had both a community of speakers and we had a community of people who attended the conference. So perhaps with two different NFTs, the speakers could maybe just come to these speaker NFTs, and then the community could go to the community, and I guess the speakers could also choose to go in the community if they wanted to, but the public necessarily could not join that conversation if we gave
right.
it.
So you go into your server settings, and you go to the roles section, and you can create a role. You can create a speaker role. You could create like a VIP ticket holder role, anything you'd like there. And you can add people to the roles manually. But if you want to get fancier, what you can do is you can use this Collabland bot to automatically add NFT or token holders to the role for you. So the first thing is you make a role. So I made this speaker role. And then you can create a channel. And when you edit the channel and permissions, you can set it up so that only administrators and people with the speaker role can see it. So this is a private channel now. And you'll see I have a checkmark private channel, and it has distinct access rights. So now what I do, now that I have the role, I go to this Collabland config channel where I can set this up. And I can type this setup role, and you'll see that it's a bit of a rickety setup, but it essentially asks me to click an emoji for which blockchain. So number 1, mainnet, this is main Ethereum. Number 5 is Polygon. There's like all sorts of chains here. So I'm going to click number 1.
Just to be clear, on OpenSea, there are two chains that I know about, Ethereum and Polygon, and Polygon has the no fees. So my NFTs are mostly on Polygon. So I would have clicked, I guess, for 5 in that case.
Yeah, so for your NFT, you do 5. And in this case, I have a quick test with just the mainnet one. And then ERC 721 is for a particular token. So I'm going to click that one. And then you'll see it's asking for this almost like a command line, like you paste the contract address, the minimum tokens, max tokens, the role, and then specific tokens. So where do I get all this info?
Contact address, I know I can take that from OpenSea, but what's the minimum tokens, max tokens? What does that mean?
Yeah, so the minimum is if you have to own, you said 5 NFTs, it's a special thing. For example, you can set it to 5. Maximum typically is -1.
I got
Most people don't have a limit unless it's like the newbie channel who only has 1 or something. And then you put the role name, and for depending on the type of token standard, you can either say anyone with a token is allowed in, or you could specify specific token IDs. So if we go to OpenSea, I can look to a specific NFT here, and I go down to details, I expand that. And here I have the contract address, I have the token ID, I have the token standard. So I've got all this information that I need here.
Oh, okay. So it's really a matter of integrating from OpenSea over to Discord. So for someone who's watching this, listening to this, in order to set up, a Discord for, for I don't know, not a large community, but let's say a 500 person community, how many hours would you think it is for someone to learn, just to get started, get comfortable, and start setting up roles? Like, how much time do you recommend they allocate?
I mean, it really depends on the complexity of what sort of access rights they want to set up. None of it's very difficult. It's just sort of like initial grunt work. Really, the more important part.
Initial grunt work, yeah.
Yeah, the more important part is keeping community going. So having like a key set of people that are keeping conversation going, moderators, making sure like nothing's going off the rails. That's really the big part.
So before I jump further, so keeping the conversation going is one of those key things you just dropped in. But as a community manager, someone who manages a community of people, I think one of the essential things about community on the internet is keeping that conversation going versus going quiet. So what do you do in Discord to keep the conversation going?
So I mean, part of it is making sure people have a reason to be there. So part of that is kind of some of those bots and things that can give people kind of a serendipitous way to be in the channel at the same time. But the rest of it is no different than any other conversation in person or online. Have topics that people care about, understand who your audience is, what are they looking to accomplish, how can you support them. That's just kind of very specific to the community, what those answers are. But the basic premise is really knowing your audience and making it valuable for them to be there.
Thank you. So what have you learned something about how you approach community as you adopted Discord into your way of living?
I'm still an observer of Discord, as you saw with my metaverse of one for my channel.
Right.
So yeah, I've joined a lot of communities just to kind of see what they're about and see what people are doing and how it works. But I've run Slack communities in the past, but I have not kind of went full speed on building a Discord community myself. I've just sort of learned the basics of the mechanics and how it works from being part of other communities.
And collab.land. So so this is, I guess it's free. If someone has a
Yes.
Discord server, and when you're recovering from surgery, maybe we'll talk about it more details, but basically anyone and everyone can get a Discord set up. It is a free service. They just have to spend a few minutes setting it up for themselves or join a friend that has one. To install collab.land .land, how much time did it take for you to install this?
It literally just a few minutes. Like that link I showed at the beginning, you just click this link and then it's installed. Then you add your roles and then you do the setup. And there's one more thing I want to show. So as an end user, if you want to verify that you own the NFT so you can be let in, you go to this join channel and you click on this link. And it says, use this link to connect your wallet. So I'm going to copy this link and paste it into my browser here. And it's going to ask me which wallet. It's going to say MetaMask. I've got my test wallet here. It has to pick which one I want. And then there's no fee for this. So this is not a transfer. This is just signing a message from your wallet to prove that you have the credentials. So it's kind of like public-private key cryptography in a way behind the scenes. So once you sign this, it says wallet is connected. Please check roles. It may take up to 2 minutes. So Collabland behind the scenes recognizes my wallet address is linked to my Discord account, and it's going to eventually add the role for me that matches the rules that I've specified to be a speaker or whatever I have. And that's it. I mean, the config is a little tweaky. You noticed before it's here, it's timed out because I didn't act quickly enough. I typed in setup role and nothing happened. So it may take a few tries. It's not that you're doing something wrong. Collabland's a free service and they're just overwhelmed with traffic. So just keep trying again and you'll get it eventually.
Oh,
and
wow.
So from before, here I have my configuration here. I did one in Polygon.
Yeah.
And I did one for the Ethereum mainnet, and it'll list what rules you have.
Huh. Wow, this is wonderful. All right, so for everyone watching, this is a future. This may be your future. If you're setting up communities and you're using Discord and using an NFT that you sold to provide access to yourself or to a group of others within your community, this is a way that it gets done. It may not be the only way, but it's a way that someone with a great deal of community experience, such as Alec, has found to be working. Wow, this is wonderful. Could you stop sharing your screen?
Sure.
And I want to be mindful of your time and bring on the others, but thank you. So by the way, this is complicated. I don't want to oversimplify anything. This is a little, not rocket science, but it's a little that you know and the nuances of how to do it that makes the biggest difference. So not that you need clients, but if someone wants to reach you to say, hey, Alec, how does this really work? How do they reach you? What's the best way?
Yeah, so you can reach me at alec@botsandai.com, and I'll paste my email in there too.
And because I don't want I don't want to oversimplify this, but what we are seeing hands-on is how we can all, like, for this show, for example, for the creator economy show, theoretically I could create a Discord, and we could provide, if there was a reason, a meaningful reason why we want to connect to each other between shows, then the Discord would be set up and you could then play. And yes, as one of the challenges, of course, of any community, if you've ever moderated a mailing list, is when the mailing list goes quiet. It's like, how do you bring activity? How do you keep it? But quiet sometimes is fine. So there's that balance.
There's an interesting rule of thumb that keeps getting repeated now. 90% of your community will be lurkers, 9% will be commenters and reactors, and 1% will actually be creators. So don't feel bad if you see that happening. Like that's just how it is.
Wow. And are there competitors to Discord for this type of work, or does Discord really have that space for right now for NFT?
In the crypto space, it's Discord and Telegram. Discord has a bigger popularity in certain areas. Telegram, for some reason overseas, seems to be bigger than Discord. The bots and experience in Discord seems fancier than Telegram to me, though.
Okay, and so, but thank you. I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because it is in my efforts over the course of February into March to get a few different channels set up with NFTs. The Pulveria NFTs, those that you hold on to, will have certain privileges. As I learn how to use Discord, or Alec can somehow through osmosis teach me, so I could properly configure. But I don't want to there is a lot of work here to be done to get into the culture of Discord, and it sort of comes with the territory. If you want to learn Web3 and get into the Web3 culture, this is another way that people are communicating. And so certainly for our next guests, I will ask, Andrew and Nicholas may not be thinking about Discord as a way to promote a film, but you never know. And there's all sorts of places where community matters. Alec, thank you for being here. I know you can't stay the entire time, so if you have questions about Discord, well, feel free to put them into the chat. I'm sure Alec will do his best to reply. And I want to go on to our next.
Great, thank you.
I wish you an easy surgery, and I thank you for being here. And if you have time, we'll bring you up as we wrap up, Alec. Thank you so much. So that was Discord, NFTs, and you. Probably a class at Pulver EDU in the future, maybe many classes. But it's something which I think is just really fascinating and something which we cannot ignore. So, but I want to welcome back Nicholas. Thank you for coming back to the Creator Economy. Could you please properly introduce your friend who you brought today?
So my name is Nicholas Zabaly, and I'd like to introduce Andrew Simmons, who is the director of the short animated film The Flower, which I have been working on with him for the past about 6 months or so. So Andrew, take it away.
Andrew, take it away. Andrew gets real nervous in situations like this, so I'll do my best not to stutter too much. No promises. The Flower started years ago when I was employed at Walt Disney Feature Animation, the Orlando studio. I was one of the few employees that was there the day they opened to the day they closed, which was 15 years. It was more of an East Coast thing. I only visited the West Coast once my entire time while working at Disney. But the great part about working at a studio that was kind of outside the main Hollywood unit and was the ability to be able to do things on our own. Since we were part of a tour, we actually had to be at our desk even when there wasn't a film to work on. So we ended up with downtime, like sometimes 6 months to a year. And a lot of people would do their own little things. And so I just started trying to do my own little thing. I had moved from ink and paint, where I originally started. My first film credit was A Little Mermaid as an ink and painter, to the camera department. And I was very lucky to have a mentor, per se, who literally would sit me down and explain the entire, animation just from start to finish. And we would go and see films, and he had done live action shooting. So he just started explaining everything to me. And it was about that point I started writing and watching the way that films were created. And those few years is where The Flower really came into being. Not being an artist per se myself, though there was a lot of people around the studio doing their own little shorts, they could draw them. I actually had to go knock on doors and, kind of show my stick figures to people and be like, hey, you want to work on this? And more often than not, it was a no, but I had enough people step up that by the time the studio was closed in 2004, we were almost halfway done.
Could you, so the story about the flower itself, could you share a little bit before you show the work that you've been working on? What was the inspiration behind the flower?
Probably way too much pizza, Dr. Pepper, and Akira Kurosawa movies.
Cool.
I do have a love for Japanese culture. From the time I was 18, I was blessed to be able to see one of Akira Kurosawa's films in a theater here in the States. And it just put a huge impression upon me. And I started researching the culture. It also helped that my dad was in the Marines and he went overseas for a period of time and would send me stuff, straight from Okinawa, which was really cool. And it was just a fascination and a love. And I just ended up combining, the love for the Japanese culture with my love for, learning how to make films and how to do something creative along that line.
So for people who didn't tune in last time, or this is their intro to the film, The Flower is a short 3.5-minute film set in 15th century Japan, and it's told without any dialogue, and it tracks the path of a flower that falls into a river and intersects with the lives of various animals and people. So via the journey of the flower, you get to learn about the lives and the personal tragedies of the people who it passes by.
Wow. And you would like to share a little bit of the clip that you have?
I can, yes. Yes. Share my screen real quick. I actually have some before and afters, or I shouldn't say before and after, more before and current. So this is scene 4, and this is what scene 4 looked like after I had left the studio. I had about 15 years of downtime where my art director and we were really good friends. So we've stayed in contact over the years, and we really took a step back on what the film should look like. Originally, we were doing this blend between Bambi and woodblock prints, and we decided that no, let's just go ahead and go full blown with the woodblock print. So this is actually one of the first scenes that had a painting. The background was actually painted, and the flower you're looking at in here is, well, what we call layout poses. So this will be the projected path of the flower. It's a very rough camera move, but it kind of gives you the idea of what's going to happen in the scene.
Wow.
And we have now partnered with a studio in the Philippines. And this is one of the first things we put into production with them. And this is what we have received back. And
This
what they've
about,
done.
what, a week and a half ago that we got this, Andrew?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
So the water is colored really funky, but that's because that's not going to be the color of the water per se. It's actually going to drive the background to move. So it's going to be more transparent. It's just colored the way it is so that you can actually see it and see what it's doing. So we've got a lot of work left to do on this when it gets into post end. And then the next one is, this is a scene that was animated in Florida by one of my good friends, Patrick Tordo. And so this animation actually sat in my closet for over 15 years. And I pulled it out and scanned everything. And we have a gentleman in Spain who has come onto the project, and he's doing cleanup and animation for us. And so he took those original drawings and basically turned them into this, which is ready to be painted.
Oh, wow.
And that's actually the young samurai. He's looking down at the flower that's come up to the bank. And this is scene 30. This is one of our really key frames, or key scenes for the entire film. That and scene 4 with the flower turning is really what sets the look of the film. This animation was done at the Florida studio by a guy by the name of Ronnie Williford. Again, this is artwork that sat in my closet for over 15 years before we pulled it out. And then we put this one through the pipeline as a test scene as well. And this is where it ended up at. So this is another one of our scenes that are actually ready for final paint.
Wow.
And for those of you who might be wondering, yes, this is actually a hand-drawn movie, the way that they used to make them. Not everything is CG.
No, at this point, there is no CG in the entire film. And what makes this film unique is the goal for me was to have something that was incredibly lyrical and almost like visual poetry. So normal animation is done about what they call on twos, which is every second, 2 frames. So out of 24 frames a second, you'll have about 12 drawings. Because I'm going for such a fluid look, we're actually doing it on one. So in 1 second of animation, you're actually going to see 24 drawings, which is twice the work to get the look and feel.
And so the project itself, is it a labor of love, or where's this energy come from?
It's determination, love, frustration. As I said, after I was at the Orlando studio for 15 years, and when they closed this down, it was really heartbreaking. I mean, that was my life. I love animation. And I had been working on it off and on for probably about 8 or 9 years at the Florida studio. And I couldn't give it up. I went into the head of the studio, the director of our studio's office, and I said, look, you guys, this is just going to end up in the morgue, which is where all the drawings go to rest in peace after the film's been made. I'm like, you guys don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do it. Why don't you just go ahead and give me the rights? And shockingly, they did. I was able to sign some paperwork a week later and walk out the door with every single drawing. And he kind of laughed at me a little bit because he's like, at that time, there was no small studios around, or very, very few. It was either the big boys or nobody. So he's like, nobody's ever going to pick this up and do anything with it. So I always in contact with my art director over the years. I'm like, how can we make it happen? We talked about trying to do it live action. We talked about trying to actually do it 3D. And within the last 5 years and watching what's been done on Kickstarter and crowdfunding, I remember I was at my good friend Tom Bancroft's house. He's an animator from back in the day. And, I was like, Tom, why don't we try to raise some funds on Kickstarter? Do you think we can do that? And that's what actually led to my Kickstarter, which even though we didn't hit our goal with the Kickstarter, I found and been blessed with some incredible people like Nicholas, who has come on board, who found us via the Kickstarter. Nell, who came on from Spain, who's doing work, he found us via the Kickstarter. And some of my hardcore backers, they're like, we don't care if you failed, Andrew. We love this project so much, we're just going to send you money. And based out of that core 8 to 10,000 that we got, it was like, we can make this happen. And I was like, Nicholas, let's get the rest. What do we need to do? So that's kind of where we're at. We found a studio that can fit our price point, and we've done some testings with them, and we feel pretty confident that we're funded all the ways through complete animation. We'll have to probably finagle some backgrounds a little bit, but with me doing all the compositing, we should have a finished product in the next year or so.
And after you finish the product, are you going to submit it to some of the festivals for?
Absolutely. Yeah, we will send it far and wide as much as we can.
Wow. Do you have any takeaways from the experience of taking something that was sitting in the archives for 15 years and bringing it to life now?
Just if it's a dream of yours, don't give up on it. Just stick with it. I mean, I had to take jobs because I had a large family, and during that time period, my kids were teens and growing up and moving out of the house, so they were the priority there for quite a while. Just do whatever I had to do to pay the bills, but never lose sight of what's in your heart and what your goal is, regardless of what that goal may be. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And the other thing is to not look at what you don't have, look at what you do have to make it happen. I didn't have like Toon Boom or TV Paint or all these other programs that are known to use for animation. So I just started using Photoshop.
And it works.
And it works. Yes, sir.
And Nicholas, what have you learned as being part of this project?
This is the first project that I've served in a producer role on. And honestly, the way that it all kind of came together was just finding out about the project, like you said, Andrew, on Kickstarter, contacting you after that campaign was over, and then just trying to figure out the ways that we could do it. And in that kind of beginning of producer experience, you just learn about really the secret of being a producer is you do whatever you have to do in order to try and get the thing made. Contact everyone, call in your favors, and primarily you have to find a way to serve the project and to move everything forward and to advance the quality as much as possible. You are literally a producer. You must produce the work. So for me, that's been very eye-opening. You learn how to actually approach these projects, how you're going to add value to them. So it's just been a tremendous learning experience for me, and a great opportunity to help a project that I'm very passionate about. And I mean, just I think this gets lost sometimes, but the story behind this film is just as interesting as the film itself, because this is really the last lost film of the Disney Florida studio that has been unknown to people for 20 years, and now we're making it happen. We're bringing it to people, and I think it's a testament to all of the great work and all the great people that were there back in the 90s and early 2000s. You know, there were 400 people who worked at the Florida studio, and this is a film that I truly hope, when it's done, will be celebrated and will serve as a legacy for all of them.
That would be most amazing. So if people want to contribute or support the work that you're doing, what's the best way for people to show their love and their respect to what's happening now?
We have a donate page on our website. Nicholas, do you have that link?
Yeah, let me share the link with everyone, and yeah, you can go on there. You can learn more about the film. You can learn more about all of our wonderful crew. We have an Emmy-nominated composer and ACE-nominated editor who actually just worked on the Sony and Netflix film Vivo that came out last year. So yeah, please check us out. And if you are able to support the project, as Andrew mentioned, we have enough money to finish the animation. So rest assured, you're not going to be getting onto a project that isn't going to get finished. But if you are able to contribute or help us out, what you're really going to be helping with is plussing the quality of the animation and really bringing it up to that professional Disney quality level that that people got to experience in the 90s and 2000s. And also, Andrew didn't mention, but we're working with a lot of people who are Disney veterans of the Florida studio. So we have an overseas studio in the Philippines doing a lot of our work. We have our animator in Spain doing a lot of our work, but we also have a core group of Disney vets all over the US that is helping us. And really every dollar makes a big difference in being able to enhance what we're trying to do. So thank you for everyone who has supported us so far. There's a few of you watching right now, so thank you so much. And anyone who wants to join, we would be so appreciative.
And just I'm curious, now that you've been through the fundraising and now that you were perhaps forced to watch, but you did watch the quick presentation about Discord and Web3, are you thinking of using any type of internet tools to grow the community of folks that are supporting your work?
I'm currently using Instagram the most, and Nicholas is using Twitter the most.
Yeah, we're kind of more at the moment on more conventional social media. But one of the great things that came out of the Kickstarter was there was a kind of a core group or community of people who found out about the project that way. And then Andrew, you also have had contact with the people from the Florida studio back in the day. So one thing that I think would be a cool thing that we might be able to do in the future would be to launch some kind of community to get the word out about the film closer to release. Because we are hoping, as Andrew mentioned, we're hoping to show it at festivals. Ideally, we would really like to show it at festivals around the world, especially in Japan, since this is a Japan-related subject of a film, and we've actually even had someone in Japan do some work on it. So we would really like to extend it out as much as possible, and I think that kind of broad online community is a really perfect way of doing that. That's
great. Before Alec, I see, just had to go. So does anyone here have questions for Andrew or Nicholas? Please feel free to put into the chat. I'm a fan of animation, and I'm really when I heard about this project, Andrew, I had to say wow.
Oh, thank you.
The dedication, the push, and then coming and watching it actually come alive is just a beautiful backstory to the actual story of sharing the work that you were doing. Harry, do you see any questions in the chat, or anyone have questions? Harry?
Sure, I'm here. I don't see anything yet.
I got a question just now that was direct to me, which was about the length of the film. And it's going to be 3.5 minutes long.
Is there a magical reason why it's 3.5 minutes and not 3 minutes, or not 3.25 minutes, or is it like there's?
No, that was actually based off of my good friend Tim Hodge did the storyboards for me back in the day. And the storyboards are just basically comic book panels that you put together, you cut together to actually create the film. And we didn't have any, conditions on how long or how short, knowing it would just be a short, but whatever it took to tell the story properly is what we were going for. And that's about where we landed with 3.5 minutes. The great part is, for me as a director was like, well, we're not going to have anybody talk. That way I don't have to worry about dialogue. I'm a huge music fan, and I love, music videos and the way music videos can be cut together. And I really wanted this piece, since it is a lyrical piece, to be driven by the music and let that actually be more of a character than actually people talking.
And so for award recognition, and I don't know the answer, I'm just asking, but would this short animation fulfill the criteria for BAFTA or for the Oscars?
Yes, depending on where it's shown, and I leave that to Nicholas.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that we're screening it at some Oscar qualifying festivals, and we've already identified a couple of good possibilities. One thing that personally I've talked to Andrew about is I'm passionate about trying to show it in as many places where our backers are located as possible and where our crews are located as possible. And Andrew is operating out of Tennessee. I'm operating out of Los Angeles. So between the two places, we've got regional festivals in Atlanta and on the West Coast that would be Oscar qualifiers that we're hoping to screen at.
And Jeff, I think we got a question.
I see that
here from,
Elliot has a question. Elliot, do you want to type the question to the chat? Or he has his hand up. And also Gio wrote, could you talk about what film moved you to this? Oh, is there Gio's asking what can you talk about what film moved you to do the project?
Oh man, all the main ones. I mean, the one I saw when I was 18 years old was Ron, and I was so engrossed in watching that film, I actually forgot halfway through that I was reading subtitles. It was just, to me, it was just that immersive of a movie. And from watching that one, then I literally went back and, I think I raided the Criterion library to get my hands on everything that I could, from the Seven Samurai to Yojimbo, Sanjurno, and just those are all my favorites. Even, the Invisible Tower and Throne of Blood. And then I started learning about the histories of him, making those being made. And there's really not one. If I had to point to one, it was Ron, because it was just impressive.
Wow. Elliot, did you want to ask a question or type a question, or I wasn't sure.
Elliot, you need to unmute.
Am I on?
Yes, you're on. You're on.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to mention I started off in animation. I'm in film, and I give you guys a lot of credit. The work that goes into animation can blow your mind. But get in touch with me. I gave you my private number and everything, and I'd be more than happy to help you. I'll be happy to help you in finding the right outlets like Children's Television Workshop, big places like that, aside from Instagram and whatever. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Anyone else have any questions? This is really thank you, Elliot, for that. Wow, that was wonderful.
I think Gio might have another question there.
Gio always has. Oh, Gio. So, did you see the backstory documentary of Rand and Mind Boggling?
I have not seen that yet. I need to.
See, Gio, we only could read because he's just very quiet around here. Well, look, I want to thank both of you for being here today, and you're certainly welcome to come back to the Creator Economy at any time if you have updates, if you like to share additional insights. I'm biased because I love animation, and I'm inspired by people who do things that are inspirational, as you are. So I wish to congratulate you for what you've done so far and what you will be doing, and I really do hope that when you do complete it, the work, that you are recognized for the magic that you brought back to life. So thank you both. And to everyone watching, I'm Jeff Pulver. You've been listening to watching the Creator Economy. This show is sometimes weekly. It will be weekly for the next few weeks. I have guests lined up. It starts at 2:00 Eastern. It runs about an hour. If you're not watching us inside our virtual studio audience, go to pulver.com, follow the links, and sign up. And if any of you are a creator and would like to be a guest on this show, you're invited to reach out to me. You can go to jeff@pulver.com or my Gmail and just tell me you want to be a guest. It's really that simple. We have very informal booking here. It's like, hi, I'm a creator. Let's talk. So always looking to provide light to people who are helping to make the world a better place. And I appreciate your collective creativity. So Nicholas, Andrew, thank you for being here. Shout out to Alec, who I appreciate came here to help us with at least see how complicated yet interesting Discord could be. He has surgery, soldier surgery coming up, which is why the Vaughn channel has not been set up yet, but I'll figure that out myself. Anyway, thank you all for being here. You guys are awesome. And Harry, thank you for being our producer. And we'll be back next week, same time. One of our guests is the founder of the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. He'll be joining us. That's JT. He'll be with us next week, together with my friend, I think David Cutler's joining us, and he's out of Boston. So we'll be talking tech and hip hop next week. So that's next week's show. But guys, thank you so much, and I wish you continued success on all your efforts. And we'll end the show now, Harry. So thank you.
Recording stopped.
And you could stop the live streaming when you can. And really, thank you all. It's so nice to see you. And thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, and we'll actually, I don't mind coming back and showing some of the scenes once we get final composites on them so you can see what it's ultimately going to look like.
That'd be absolutely wonderful. And you know, there's some of my friends that are here are artists. And so it's kind of fun. I think we all collectively appreciate what you do. So it's a lot of fun.